weep for our children. Messiah said, daughters of Jerusalem, don't weep for me, because days are coming. And that was about 70 AD when the Romans came and smashed Jerusalem. 1 million, get this, 1,100,000 Jews were butchered, apart from those taken into captivity into Rome. Don't wait for me, he said. How often I wanted to gather you like a hen gathers her chicks to her breast. How often I wanted to gather you like a hen gathers her chicks to her breast, but you people didn't want it. Look, your house is abandoned to you. Weep for your children now, folks. Weep for them. They are under subjugation of the education system that now is promoting there's no such thing as male and female. This came from a guy called Charles Kinsey, Kinsey, years ago. This prick, who used to masturbate babies, by the way. Charles Kinsey. Check it out on YouTube. Charles Kinsey, Kinsey. Evil man. Weep for your children, folks, because when we die, they're going to be left behind to this sewer system. Come, Lord Mashiach, come quickly, please. We can't hurry that day. That day is set. Acts tells us that. The Father has set a day in which he's going to judge the whole earth by a man, Yahshua Mashiach, Christ Jesus, right? But weep for your children. You know, the children that you give the tablets and the iPods to, and they go to their little rooms while you're downstairs with your wife, maybe chilling out after work, enjoy a glass of wine, and you let your little child, son or daughter, go to their bedroom with the internet and all the stuff you've given them. You don't know what they're looking at, folks. You don't realize what they're looking at, do you? Long gone are the days when families sat around the table and enjoyed a meal together with proper communication, not avatar internet stuff. Your child goes to their little bedroom while you're enjoying your little relaxed mode drink after work with your wife, or your child is under demonic influence. Yeah, probably meeting someone online who claims to be like a teenager but is really a paedophile. Get real, folks. If you tolerate this, then your children will be next. Will be next. A song by Manic Street Preachers, a Welsh group. I'm Welsh, yeah. Weep for your children, because when you and I leave the scene of this earth, if Messiah hasn't come back, then they're going to be left to this filthy sewer where homosexuality is okay, lesbianism is okay. That's the normal. Rome fell because of one point: the fall apart of the family unit. Research it on history. Weep for your children. And I do as well. Big time. If Messiah doesn't come back very soon, this world would be so screwed up, man. People with no values, accepting homosexual, lesbian as the norm. It's a totally screwed generation. No morals, no principles. In this town where I live, right, 100 years ago, there was a place called the Promenade. The Promenade. You couldn't walk down that street unless a man wore his hat, and he had to take his hat off when a lady passed by in the street, like respect. You weren't allowed on the promenade unless you were dressed appropriately. The days of grace have gone into the days of disgrace. One famous historian, I think it was Will Durant, I'm not sure, said in 1914 the pigs came into the pasture. Now what did he mean by that? You see, women in World War I had to work in munition factories. They became like men, right? Machine fodder. The pigs came in the pasture. What this historian was saying was the age of grace went away. And we've seen the gradual degradation of the female, the beauty of the woman, like Votes for Women, Emily Pankhurst, etc. The age of grace has gone into an age of disgrace. Weep for your children, because they're going to face horrendous times. Horrendous times. Pray for them, that's all we can do, because you and I may not be around much longer if you're my age. Pray for them. Pray for them. Teach them, while you can, the principles in the scriptures, because they are under the umbrella of a perverted educational so-called system that's teaching them that gay, lesbian is the normal factor. Do you know, in the UK here 100 years ago, if you were homosexual you were imprisoned or castrated. Well, you might say that's quite extreme. My point is this: how quickly over 10 decades the scene changes, right? You've got the Pope now, you know, the clown that sits in the Vatican, saying, well, it doesn't matter if you're gay, as long as you're a good person, you know, you're going to go to heaven. Of course, that's wonderful to the tolerant person. What a nice guy. What a nice guy, being very tolerant. Get real. The Father does not speak through scumbag pieces of flesh on this earth. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 1. In many times past, the writer says, Hebrews 1:1, the Father spoke through the prophets in many ways. In these last days he has spoken to us by means of a Son whom he appointed heir of all things. That rules out, eradicates all so-called self-appointed prophets. Weep for your children and your grandchildren, because they're going to face horrendous times. Shalom.